Right, well, I've forked out $500 on airlines, brand new electric line, 2 new airlines. These are what they call pigtails, for use with pogo stick and tracker bar applications. And that's my pogo stick, and the difference with these is there's a very long tail on them before it starts to curl, and the idea is you put the tail, put the one end on, and then it's straight all the way up to the top of the pogo stick, and then from that point is where the curls start. So, but the main issue I've got now, it's easy to fit the actual airlines, but the main issue I've got is I've got to rig up this 7-pin plug. I've got to mount the plug, and this is an alloy plate, so that'll be easy to drill, so I don't really want to change the plate. But the problem is tractor valves are in the way, so I need to unbolt them, move these tractor valves over, re-drill the plate, mount it further over to the right. But when I put a spanner on, I found out that these bolts are seized inside. I can get the nuts off, but the bolt, because the valves are alloy, they're obviously corroded and it's seized up. So I think the best thing to do, I know I'm going to put a spanner on, they're just going to snap off, but move them out of the way for now, drill the plate out, fit the plug socket, and then figure out what I'm going to do about these bolts once I've done that. Well, that was hard work, but they actually all come out, so happy days. Problem I'm having is I haven't got a bloody, here, nice one, I haven't got a phone holder. Well, I had a cradle to stand the phone in to record while I'm doing stuff, but it's just bloody broke. So, right, little update on the progress. Completely reworked the bracket, drilled it all out, all fits just right, moved the air valves over, even managed to, piece of scrap metal that was left over, managed to remount that as a bit of a sort of protection. Not that it needs it really, but I thought might as well put that on. Wired up the plug, but the way I've wired it is, once you fit the plug in place, the bracket and the plug will clamp tight on the actual rubber boot. I didn't want to put the plug in and then slip the boot on behind it, because water's going to get in it, it might slip off. But that means that unless I was to cut a slot in there, which I don't want to do, I've now got to completely unwire it from the junction box, just so as I can thread the wires all back through that hole and then put it all back in the junction box. But luckily they're all on spade connections, and they're all colour coded. It was just a bit dirty, so easy peasy. These are my pigtails. They're basically airlines, but there's a big long stripe bit, so that stripe bit from the top there all the way down to the fitting, the valves there, and then like that stripe, that's part straight, and then there's the curly bit, so they look like pig's tails, so they call them a pig's tail. And then that's my pogo stick, and what I had to do was I had to move them air valves. I was mounted there, that's the original hole for the air valves, and this plug, there was no plug socket there. The original electric line was just wired straight into the junction box. It looped down underneath, come up through this hole here, and then there was like about 5 feet length on it, but it was just hanging about. So I figured move these air valves over, drill out a hole in this bracket. It's only aluminium, so it was soft. And then I could mount my plug, cut the wire down and rewire it into the junction box, which I've done that. This junction box is a bit shit on the edge here, might let water in. But I tell you what, it was so simple to do in terms of wiring. All the wiring is all like universal. Like, it doesn't matter how old the truck is, the wiring is exactly the same. Whereas in the UK, you know, we've got all different fucking measurements, millimeters and inches. So anyway, I wired it all in. That was easy enough. Those all on spade connectors, was all colour coded. And then I had to wire the plug up first, put the rubber boot on, put it all through the hole, and then put all the spade connectors back on the terminals inside there. The only thing I've got to do now is figure out where I'm going to put the ends, like the glad ends and the big plug. By the way, this green line, the electric line, cost about $230 odd. These was $180. But I'll tell you what though, fucking, it's well heavy. Made in the USA. Nice. I've also got this glad hand holder. Put your electric plug in the top and then your glad hands on the bottom. But I can't figure out where to mount it. The best place would be on the smokestack post, but the problem is that the couplings on the trailers over here are all on the right hand side, they're not in the middle. So I'd have to keep climbing up there, undoing them, then pulling them all the way across. So this needs to be mounted somewhere here. I was thinking about taking this bracket off, putting a taller one on, then mounting them like that. But I'll have to get a piece of aluminium because I don't fancy drilling steel out. So, but whatever, that's the piggy tails. Look at that. Mint.